The CEO sat in her office, her fingers drumming impatiently on the polished mahogany desk. "Please, just make it fast," she said, her voice tight, almost brittle. She had been running her company for over a decade, building it from nothing, and yet, here she was, feeling completely powerless. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sparkled with evening lights, but inside, tension hung thick, suffocating everything. That's when he walked in. A man whose life couldn't have been more different from hers, a single dad, a janitor at her company, someone she barely noticed in the whirlwind of her wealth and power. But today, he was about to change everything. He stepped forward, calm yet unshakable, carrying an aura of quiet confidence. His name was Ryan, a man who had spent years juggling multiple jobs, raising his young daughter alone, and quietly bearing the weight of a life that didn't give him much room to breathe. Today, though, he wasn't here to clean or fix, he was here to confront the impossible. The CEO had a problem she couldn't solve, a project collapsing in her hands, her entire reputation at stake. And Ryan, against every odds, had the solution. Without a word, he took off his jacket, revealing a plain shirt underneath, but in that simple act, there was a promise. He was ready to step into her world, fully committed, no excuses. As he spoke, his words were precise, grounded, and intelligent, but what struck her most was his perspective. He talked about resilience, about seeing problems not as obstacles but as puzzles waiting to be solved. The CEO, used to meetings filled with sycophants and advisors, found herself leaning forward, absorbing every word. Ryan's daughter, 6-year-old Emma, had often taught him lessons about patience and creativity he never thought he'd use in a corporate boardroom, but now, every late night changing diapers, every rushed breakfast, every scraped knee had prepared him for this moment. The CEO felt something she hadn't felt in years, a flicker of hope. By the end of the first hour, Ryan had not only presented a solution but had shown her a new way to look at her company, her people, and even herself. It wasn't just about numbers or efficiency, it was about humanity, about understanding the heartbeats behind every decision. The CEO realized she had been running herself ragged, ignoring the very people who kept her empire alive. And for the first time, she saw Ryan not just as a janitor or a single dad, but as a man whose integrity, courage, and heart could truly change lives. The next day, Ryan returned, his jacket back on, but this time, he wasn't walking into a world of cold glass and intimidating suits. He was walking into collaboration, into a partnership born out of respect and genuine connection. The CEO had called a meeting, and for the first time, she let go of her pride. She stood beside him, introducing him not just as an employee but as a crucial mind behind the company's new direction. Colleagues who had doubted him began to see him in a new light. Emma, watching from the sidelines, clapped quietly, proud of the dad who always made her feel like the world could be better, and now, challenges didn't disappear overnight. There were late nights, disagreements, and moments when failure loomed again. But every time the CEO felt panic rising, she remembered that simple act, the jacket coming off, the promise of commitment and courage. Ryan reminded her that leadership wasn't about commanding fear, it was about inspiring trust, about facing adversity with an open heart. Slowly, the company began to transform, not just in profits, but in culture. Employees who had felt invisible now felt seen. The CEO learned to listen, to trust, and to embrace vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness. Months later, in a meeting overlooking the city skyline, the CEO looked at Ryan, her expression softening with gratitude and awe. "You changed everything," she said. He smiled, shaking his head modestly. "We changed it together," he replied, thinking of Emma, thinking of the lessons life had quietly taught him about perseverance and love. And in that moment, it wasn't about business anymore, it was about the power of human connection, about the courage to step forward, to take off your jacket, and to truly give yourself to the challenge at hand. The story ended not with a dramatic triumph, but with something far more profound, a simple truth that resonated deeply. Success wasn't about titles or money, it was about courage, integrity, and the willingness to stand for something bigger than yourself. The CEO had learned it, Ryan had lived it, and for everyone watching, it was a reminder that sometimes, the smallest acts, the quietest courage, can ignite the biggest change. And in that room, overlooking a city that never slept, two lives intertwined in a way that would inspire everyone who heard their story. True strength comes when you step up, fully, without hesitation, and change the world not for yourself, but for everyone around you.